Hello and welcome to a brand new episode of Attack on Show. I'm your host, Rob E. We've got an exciting episode for you lined up today, but before we get started, please make sure you click the subscribe button and hit that bell so you're alerted whenever we get a brand new episode. On today's episode, we have actor Justin Main in studio, and he's going to give us some inside info as to some of his upcoming projects, along with a special announcement for a brand new upcoming film that he's going to be working on. And then on Be Kind Rewind, we jump into our favorite film. It's Devil's Night, seemed fitting. We're going to take a look at Brandon Lee's The Crow. But before we get all that, we have to do a Movie Maniac Minute. So let's start the clock. Greg Bertolini of the Arrowverse did announce that he is going to be working on a Green Lantern TV series for the new streaming service HBO Max. No details shared, but he did confirm that that is in development. Over at HBO, the massively hyped Game of Thrones prequel that starred Naomi Watts and filmed an entire pilot over Northern Ireland has been scrapped. It's not all bad news for the Game of Thrones fans, however. The House of Dragon has been picked up for an entire series by HBO. Also tying into the Game of Thrones realm, David Benioff and Dan Wise's trilogy for the Star Wars films has also been canceled. Considering what they did with wrapping up Game of Thrones, I don't think the Star Wars community is actually too upset about this. And in good Star Wars news, The Mandalorian just dropped a full-length trailer, and this series looks to be amazing. They're releasing the first 3 episodes on Disney Plus November 12th. The look of this show looks like it captures everything that us growing up in the Star Wars realm has dreamed about. Everybody, that's all the time I got. This is Movie Maniac Minute. It's time to start Attack on Show. All right, welcome back. As promised, we've got special guest Justin Main's in studio, everybody. So give it up for Justin.
That's me.
You got a lot of stuff in the works. You're a busy person.
I like to call myself the Hydra of acting. When I finish one project,
Hail
I
Hydra?
grow 2 more. So, yeah.
Yeah, you've got a few currently in production,
Yeah.
and then you've actually got a couple premieres coming out. So we'll get to those first because we've got a date for the Christmas Coupons doing a theatrical premiere,
Yeah.
correct?
Yeah, so that'll be at Imagine Novi on December 2nd. And that'll basically have the whole entire cast and crew. It's going to be, I think it's dressy or cocktail attire for that. But we're trying to make it like a big occasion. I know we've sold a lot of tickets already. So it should be a really fun night, a really fun evening. And I'm looking forward to it.
That's fabulous. And obviously the attackers know Christmas Coupon because we had Aaron and Courtney on the show, and that was a lot of fun.
Those 2 lovebirds.
Aren't they cute?
They're so
just adorable. That was on cue. That wasn't even planned.
We didn't plan that at all. It's not like, how in scripts sometimes they put the 2 lines side by side simultaneously. We didn't do that.
No, this is working out. I
That's
love it. And then we'll go on the other flip the script. You were also in Eternal Code that just got a DVD release that was this past Tuesday. And you had a pretty pivotal role in that movie.
I guess you could say that, yeah.
The character was pretty pivotal.
Yeah.
You got to lay around with your shirt off, so that was...
I was method acting.
Yeah.
That was straight up just going method in that whole role. But no, it was, while I didn't have a whole lot of lines in that's not the most important thing. It was just the role itself, and it was a really good experience for me to be able to work with such a professional cast and crew. I got to work directly with Richard Tyson and Beta Ghaffari and all them and Jan Birch. So to be able to work in scenes with them and to just hear them talk about the craft and about the business, and it was a really good experience for me and something that I'm very fortunate to have had.
I do got to ask, when watching that, and I know, when you're on set, there's take after take after take. Did you fall asleep at all in the scene? Or is there that much going on? I mean, the character, you're obviously like in a coma, we'll say.
Yeah.
But that's got to be even more distracting to not want to open your eyes and see what's going on around you when they're filming something like that.
That was the hardest part about the role was there's so many parts where you just kind of want to open up your eyes to see what's going on, and you just can't.
Right.
Like, I want to watch everybody, and I have to obviously look like I'm in a coma. And the thing with being in a coma, it's a lot harder than you think.
Oh, yeah.
Because you're basically baseline everything. Like you have to slow down your heart rate. You have to slow down your eye movement because that picks up very easily on camera.
Yeah.
Like there's a couple of shots in that film where you see my eye twitch, and that was for a specific reason to show that I was starting to come to. So if you don't control that type of stuff while you're in the scenes where you're not starting to come to, then it just makes it look like, nothing's really happening. So there is actually a little bit more control over
that's very difficult. I can only imagine. And I mean, at least it wasn't a comedy, because I imagine that's got to be insane when you hear stuff going on around you're funny. At least this was dramatic, so stay with the character.
There were some funny moments on set that almost made me crack, but I fortunately held it together.
No, that was it's a very good movie, so definitely you want to check out Eternal Code and Christmas Coupon. You've also, and I had the right notes, I'm usually pretty good at this, but you've got so much in the works right now. You've got Devil's Night, I have Roadrunner, was it the Wendigo?
The Wendigo.
Yeah. And then there's Catch Him When
He Strays.
When He Strays. So my handwriting's horrible here. These are all post-production, correct? Like you've
Catch Him When He Strays is actually premiering on November 6th, I believe.
Oh, okay. On where?
The Main Art Theater in Royal Oak.
Oh, awesome. That's a great venue.
Yeah, so that'll be premiering. It's a short film. I don't want to call it like an investor short film, but it's kind of like a pilot for a potential web series. So it features a really, really, really interesting and fun fight scene featuring yours truly.
Nice. And he's got some experience. This man's a wrestler here, so.
Yeah, I do have a little bit of experience as a pro wrestler. But yeah, so we have this really cool fight scene happening in that. But, I mean, there's a great cast involved. You got Brian Boynton, you got Ray DeVone, you got, some really good actors as part of this production. Then you have Brandon Fry, who's the director. Tori did amazing makeup for this. I can't wait for everybody to see that. There's just like a lot of great people involved. Yeah.
So when did you get the acting bug? Was this something very young? Is this something you kind of came into later on? When did that happen for you?
I think I've always been kind of like a natural born entertainer. Like my first dream before I even became a pro wrestler was to be a Power Ranger.
Who didn't want to be a Power Ranger?
Right? I wanted to be the White Ranger. He got the Pink Ranger, so I'm just saying. But
that's every kid's crush, I think. Our first crush, every kid in our generation.
Oh, yeah, my crush. Amy Jo Johnson, if you're watching this, can you please?
We've tried that already. Didn't work.
Sorry, Kristen. I didn't mean to offend you. I'm just kidding. But anyway, so I was originally discovered by a talent agent in 2000. What was it? 2000. Oh God. How old was I? I was 16. So I'm trying to figure out the year
that
it happened. What's the math?
Get a pen here.
2000, something like 2005, 2006. I was actually walking through a mire, and a talent agent discovered me.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Here in Michigan?
Yeah.
Oh, wow, Michigan, okay.
And he invited me to an open casting call. I went to it. Not a good experience, and then I just kind of swore off of acting and modeling for a while. And then I got back into acting when I found out that Jurassic World was casting in 2014.
Okay.
Everybody who knows me personally knows that I am a huge Jurassic Park fan. I am a Jurassic Park nerd, and that is one of my dreams in life.
Do you have the classic Jurassic Park t-shirt?
Oh, hell yeah.
Yes.
Oh, yeah. Oh, no, I have like 6 of them.
Nice.
So one of my dreams, one of my goals just in life was to be a part of a Jurassic Park film. And if anybody's watching from Jurassic World 3, I'm still available. But anyway, so...
We get 10% if they find it from here.
Yeah, we get 10%. No. SAG-AFTRA, a union fee. But anyway, so I found out Jurassic World was doing a casting call in 2014.
Where was that at?
New Orleans.
Okay.
And I was talking with one of my coworkers at the time. I'm like, I don't know. Do I go down there? Like, should I go down there? She's like, and this changed the course of my life forever. Thank you, Nissan. That's her name, not the actual.
Oh, okay. I thought that's what drove you there.
No, it wasn't Nissan. It wasn't actually her name. But she said something to me that changed my life. And she's like, would you regret it if you didn't go? And immediately when she said that, I was like, you're right. Yeah. And last second, and this is also ironic, on my birthday, I flew down to New Orleans, spent like $800, $900 like that, just dropped it just to go down there for the casting call, told the casting director, or my girlfriend and I's, at the time, our story, and she loved it, wanted us to be a part of the production, and a month later, got an email back saying that we had been accepted in. We were the
awesome.
Only people out of state that were accepted in.
So what'd you do? What'd you do in the movie?
I played tourist number 563. I don't know.
I saw you. No.
You did see me. You probably did. But no, we filmed for 6 days. We were there for 10. We did a lot of the main street scenes where we're all kind of like wandering about the. I call it Partridge Creek because the whole area looks and it was identical to Partridge Creek. But yeah, so we did those. We did the Pteranodon attack scene where we were all running away from the Pteranodon.
So it was both the calm, like just walking around, and then also it was all the same. Yeah, where the pterodactyls come in. I love that, and they come and pick up the people. Yeah.
If you look closely, you can see me in a couple of shots. But I mean, I think they had a total of like 1,200 extras.
Oh, were people fighting? They'd be like, I want to get picked up by a pterodactyl. Like, just to say, having that one.
Funny you should say that, because I ended up doing CGI shots.
Oh, okay.
They took like 20, 25 people just randomly, and they wanted to do CGI shots for people who were getting attacked and picked up.
Gotcha. So you went to like a green room studio and filmed those?
They didn't actually do that. No, they hung up a green screen, and they actually just took still photos. And they
and then you just motion it.
Right?
Yeah.
They face mapped us onto the CGI characters.
No kidding.
So at one point, I think I actually do get picked up. Not me physically.
Yeah.
But my tourist character does. So
523.
526.
526. I'm sorry, I'm mixing you up.
Yeah, right. But it was that experience that kind of like reignited my passion for acting, and I went into it head deep. And I've not looked back since.
That's an awesome story, because yes, when you can pin it to that one moment where you're like, from here on, I'm going for it.
I stepped onto set and I just cried. Like, that's serious.
That had to be amazing.
I cried when I got on the set, because I was living my 5-year-old childhood dream of being a part of a Jurassic Park film, being at Jurassic Park. It was like mind-blowing to me.
It doesn't look like they're ending anytime soon either, so hopefully you can get right back in there.
Hey.
There's more story for 526, I think.
Fingers crossed.
Fingers crossed. You also got a couple other projects that are in production as far as filming. I have The Royal Flush, Someone Else, and then Camp Love. There's just a poster released of Camp Love I just saw. You made the poster. Yeah.
I know, right? I'm
How
in the
cool
corner just enjoying my drink.
Yeah, everyone's having fun, and your guy looks a little depressed there.
Well, there's a reason why I'm a little
the quiet
moody.
one.
Yeah, there's a reason why I'm a little moody. Without spoiling anything, it's part of the adventure of the film, which you'll get to see when Camp Love comes out in 2020.
2020 is the scheduled release date?
Yeah, that's what we're anticipating. Could be 2021, but we're thinking quarter 4, 2020.
And then there's a project that you recently announced. We'll touch on it a little bit here, but it's going to lead into the next segment.
Yeah.
But you just announced a big one that I was really excited to see. You want to tell the attackers what your next project that you're working on?
Yeah, so I just recently announced, and there's not a whole ton of detail on it just yet, but I am doing and producing, I'm acting and starring, but also producing a short fan film based off of The Crow. Yes. Yeah. Like Robert over here, I'm a huge Crow fan. I've been a huge Crow fan for as long as I can remember. It is my second favorite film next to Jurassic. Hold on a second. Next to Jurassic Park. There are different times. It's my first favorite film after the age of 10.
Okay.
But before the age of 10, Jurassic Park. So
it holds that spot.
They go neck and neck.
I can understand.
They go neck. Believe me, the love that I have for The Crow, though, is immense. I'm a huge fan of the franchise, even Wicked Prayer.
Really?
Even
the Edward Furlong.
I do like Wicked Prayer.
Ooh.
Yeah, but
how about the TV show?
I like Mark Dacascos. Love Mark.
He's great in John Wick 3.
Oh hell yeah! But TV show. What I think they should do, and this is what I want to do with the fan.
Yeah, what are your thoughts with yours? I'm really curious.
I'm taking it in a different direction than what we've seen before with previous Crow films. It was based off of
a musical. No, I'm kidding.
That's actually not a bad idea. I might have to throw a musical scene in there. But it's based off of an original idea from myself, and Melinda Doan Bryce is fleshing out the entire thing. She came up with some brilliant ideas for this script, and I cannot wait to start shooting it, because I think it's going to it's going to be a project that's going to really appease to Crow fans and just people who enjoy that franchise. But it also asks different questions that we haven't seen in a Crow film, Crow comic, or Crow graphic novel.
Oh, wow.
So it's going to take everything in a completely different direction, and I'm just I'm so excited.
You got like 3,000 likes on just the announcement of it, and about another 4,000 comments of people wanting to help on this. It was amazing to see the feedback because I'm a huge Crow fan. It's always been my favorite since, was it 95, I think, when it came out, or 96?
94.
94, and it's been my favorite film ever since. And, you know, it's one of those where I just want to see justice given, because the sequels I'm not such a fan of, but unfortunately, but we're digressing a little bit here.
We could talk about this for hours.
Excited to keep an eye on this project of The Crow with you. I'm very excited to watch the progress of it, and you guys definitely going to want to keep an eye out for it. So we're going to get to some more Crow talk, because we do have Be Kind Rewind lined up, and we're going to cover our favorite movie, The Crow. But before we get to that, we have a very important segment here for you, Justin. I hope you're ready for this.
Oh boy.
It's 5 questions to see if you achieve attacker status. Are you ready for this?
No, but I'll go for it.
But I do want you to get attacker status, so these are important to make sure you get right.
Best. I'll do my best.
They kind of tie in, so I try to make these tie in each guess. So number 1, you've been murdered. Who do you want to avenge your death? There's Jake Lowe, which is Brandon Lee from Rapid Fire, or Jeff Sanders, which is Jason Speakman from A Perfect Weapon, and that's a true test. Have you seen Perfect Weapon? That was a risky pick. You seen it?
Yes. I gotta go with Brandon. I'm sorry.
Jake Lowe?
Yeah, I gotta go with Jake Lowe.
That wins it, because we're Brandon Lee fans, so that gets it.
I'm sorry, but that was a good. That was a good option.
Number 2. What's the better movie that involves a wrestler in it? No Holds Bar or They Live?
Ooh. Oh, man, this is hard.
It's a tough one.
Okay, so let me put this out there. I love No Holds Barred because of how damn cheesy it is.
It's classic.
It is the worst movie ever.
I don't know,
but
Zeus,
it's so good.
how Zeus was overlooked for that role, I don't...
How Zeus did not get an Academy Award for that. I love No Holds Barred. I'm not going to lie. I love that movie. However, one of the greatest fight scenes in the history of cinema was in They Live.
Yes. And did you
Roddy
see the South
Piper
Park?
is just a badass.
Yes. Chewing gum, but he's all out of gum.
But he's all out of gum. Oh man, that's a hard.
Have you seen the South Park remake of that fight scene?
It's shot for shot.
Yeah,
it's shot for shot. Like I think they literally animated over the frames of the film, if I remember correctly. But it's literally shot for shot. Ah, God. I have to.
Tough one.
I have to go with No Holds Barred.
No Holds Bar? We'll take it. No Holds Bar wins. That either one would have won on that one. So
Okay,
you're in the running here. You're still on attacker
God.
status. We're 2 for 2. This
Hulk
is going
Hogan
well.
and that chick being split down the middle with that sheet. That is my shit. I love that scene. I love that movie.
Those are fantastic. I love those movies. Let's see.
Good.
Number 3. This is where we ask you what's better, either the original or the remake. So which film was better, the original movie or the remake? The original in this case being Finding Nemo, and the remake being Taken.
Oh, man.
Didn't know they were remakes, did you?
It totally is a remake. No, it totally is. Kind of like how Lion King is Hamlet, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
That was going to be on the next show, but you just spoiled it. No. We'll save it.
I'm gonna have to go with Taken.
Taken? Ding!
I love me some Liam Neeson.
With that voice, I will find you. The memes alone puts that movie above.
He plays the same character in every single film, and I gotta give him credit for it.
Yeah.
I love it.
Hey, when you find what works, take it.
Why not?
Although his parenting could be questioned, because 3 times those kids got taken.
This is happening a lot, man. Like, you need to go to some counseling class.
Or watch your kids, Let's see. Number 4. We're still in the running here. Number 4. Who would you rather party with on Christmas? This goes with the Christmas coupon theme. You can either hang out and party with Cousin Eddie or Willie from Bad Santa.
Cousin Eddie.
From Christmas Vacation.
Yes, Cousin Eddie.
Cousin Eddie, yeah.
That's what I was thinking. I wasn't 100% sure, but I was thinking like Cousin Eddie. Yeah.
The shitter's full.
Sure. The shitter's full.
I love that movie.
Yeah, that's one of my favorite Christmas movies ever.
It is, yeah.
I love that film so much.
That'll be the Christmas episode. We'll have to get you back so we can do that one.
Oh, for sure.
Number 5, and this is an easy one. Better comic book movie, The Crow or Howard the Duck?
Howard the Duck.
Oh, thought you were gonna say The Crow.
Dude, I'm screwing with you. It's The Crow. Although I do love some
Howard the Duck was great.
Oh yeah,
that was great. No, you win. That's 5 for 5. So fantastic. You don't actually have it up here, but for winning Attacker Stash, you're gonna get your very own Attack on Show whiskey tumbler after the show. So that's coming your way. You got them all right.
Oh,
but
I'm a lucky individual.
We're gonna move on now to we're gonna do Be Kind Rewind with The Crow. All right, we're back for Be Kind Rewind as promised, and my all-time favorite. We just found out Justin's second favorite.
First favorite after the age.
First. I have a disclaimer down here at the bottom.
Yes, please do.
We are reviewing The Crow, and I got to tell you, this is the movie I've been wanting to cover on Be Kind Rewind for a while, but I never felt I could do it justice. And when I saw your announcement to doing The Crow and what you had put out there and how you felt about that movie growing up, and then agreeing to come on the show, this was like the perfect timing. The stars aligned, and I was ready to cover it. But no, this is a movie. This was a film I remember my older brother taking me to, and I did not want to see it at the time, but he was babysitting me. So I was like, well, I'll go because my brother says I have to go. And I walked out of that theater like a changed person.
You saw it in theaters?
Yes. I was blown away in the theater watching it. At the time, I mean, I was young. I didn't, the previews, all I just thought was like, oh, it's this rock music movie. Like, I didn't really know the trailers. My brother was really big into the grunge music at the time, my older, cool big brother.
Yeah.
I was like, I'll go, I have to. And just blown away by, and it was the things that like, I just, at the time, it was like the visuals on it were just amazing. There's just so many cool scenes that I think you can just watch that film, and it's one of those where when I'm watching a movie, I always just sit there and say, that's a cool shot. That's a cool shot. And it's funny because I hear my daughter doing it now, but that's a movie where I think you say it like well over a dozen times watching, but just the way the movie is filmed, even today, I strongly believe that the movie holds up today in all visual effects aspects. Some of the scenes that you look and you can see the lines, you can see that it's in front of a screen, but it looks well, like it fits the scene, like the church scene when the crow flies up. Like you could tell it's not one shot, but it looks so cool. I love that it looks that way.
It's shot brilliantly and directed brilliantly by Alex Proyas. And
yes.
I'm a huge Alex Proyas fan. I think he's a fantastic filmmaker. I wish he would have done more films.
They're so far apart. It was Dark City and then I, Robot, and
I don't know why.
They're all good movies.
They're great movies, I think, and they all have a very strong visual aesthetic, and I think like a lot of that started with The Crow. And in my honest opinion, it may be controversial, it may be not, but like I think The Crow was pretty much, besides Tim Burton's Batman's, I think that film was what kind of ushered in comic book movies to be the way they are, especially DC movies.
Yes. At the time, I think it was even criticized though for looking like Batman because of how dark it was.
Because of how dark it was.
I don't see it as a mimic. Like I feel like there's a Tim Burton style which is naturally dark, black and white.
It's whimsy. It's whimsical.
Yes.
Like it's dark, but like you look at A Nightmare, Before Christmas, like there's that kind of like that whimsical fantasy vibe to it.
Right.
The Crow is more like scary.
Grimy.
It's grimy. It's gross.
Yeah. So if you don't know, obviously The Crow was a comic book series, a comic book story first by James O'Barr.
Graphic novel.
Yeah, yes.
Comic book.
And then they had the adaptation to make the movie, which it's not technically an adaptation. The story does change from the book to the movie. And for those that don't know, if we're really telling green people that don't know anything about The Crow, which I think there's unfortunately a whole generation out there that don't understand it.
We just talked about this.
Yes.
It's unfortunately come to that time period. It's 25th anniversary this year, I believe.
It's crazy.
There's a whole generation of kids who don't know this film.
No, this is the movie that Brandon Lee died filming, and it's actually, for those that have seen, if you didn't know, Fun Boy is actually the one who kills Brandon Lee. There was a piece of metal stuck in the barrel of the revolver that he shoots, and when they put the blanks in, there's enough pressure to pierce in Brandon Lee's back, rushed to the hospital, and did not live. So there's like a legacy story, with this film that I think just needs to stay with Brandon Lee, which they keep looking at remakes, they keep falling apart, thankfully. But the movie, I feel like obviously that it changed a lot of what they could tell with the story, because when you watch the movie, the first like half hour of it isn't Brandon Lee. I mean, that's a lot of the body double that they put his face over. They had to finish a lot of this movie without him. I believe it was like mostly like the first 30 minutes, the whole T-Bird scene with the car. I found out later was not.
Body.
Yeah, I was really frustrated with that because I thought that was him.
I'm interested in the hole through the hand scene.
Yeah.
You know what I'm talking about, right?
Yes. With Funboy?
There's something that I'm not calling this like, there's some shots in here obviously that because of Brandon's death they had to completely find a way to work with. But like there's this one particular shot where Brandon, gets his hand shot and you can see right through it. They don't green screen it very well, and the hand model wasn't very convincing.
Oh yeah, okay.
You know what I'm talking
about,
right?
Yep.
Yeah. So like you can just see it kind of like this.
You can tell it's green screen.
You can tell it's green screen. It's not super well done, but I almost wonder if they took that shot of him laughing from a different scene, because it just doesn't seem like it.
I thought it kind of fit with the way him and Funboy were conversing. I never thought that scene was it. But it's very possible. That's the trick thing with this movie. It did such a good job at blending those scenes. When he first puts the makeup on right before he does, and he punches the mirror. That's a scene from a different take. That like I remember watching the making, how they like shattered the image to make it match the cracks in the mirror. Like that wasn't. He wasn't technically sitting in front of the mirror. It's amazing when you dive into this film the amount of work that it took to take place, and then when you top that off with such a great film outcome. After all the adversities that it faced, this movie's amazing. I mean, the Crow story, it's basically the Crow can bring you back from the dead, if you've suffered like such a horrendous death. And, Eric Draven, Brandon Lee's character, him and his fiance at the time are murdered because they're fighting like their apartment for like the caretaking of it.
Yeah, they complained to the landlord, and the landlord was basically involved in this gang. I forget the name of the gang, but they basically took, they did not like the complaints too much. And on Devil's Night, they come up into the apartment, rape Shelley, and kill Eric and throw him out a window. About a year later, they bring...
Crow brings him back?
The Crow brings Eric back from the dead to avenge the loss of himself and of Shelley. And that's kind of where this film
yes
takes place.
And I think that comic book movies, I think where this differentiates itself from comic book films, there's such a human emotion involved. Again, this is a movie you just said 25 years old. Every time I watch that movie, it gets more, and it's going to sound silly, but it gets more emotional for me watching the scenes when they're getting raped and he's getting beat and he's got to sit there. Yes, because once I get older and I watch it, and it's like the attachment, it's more emotional. Like it's a disturbing scene of what happens to these two, and he suffers with those memories while he's back to avenge his death. And there was a girl that they took care of that he kind of reconnects, but understands he shouldn't reconnect with her. He can't really make friends, but it's shot so well, and the dialogue in the film. To me, like, The Crow has the best threat line in all of movies when he's talking to the police officer and he's like, "They're all dead."
They're all dead. They just don't know it yet.
Like, that just sends chills every time he says it.
The delivery of it was so good, though. He's, like, in superhero movies now, they'd be like, "They're all dead. They just don't know it yet."
Yeah.
Brandon, in his infinite geniusness, basically says, "They're all dead. They just don't know it yet."
With like a little smirk.
With a smirk and a smile, and it's like, thank you, Brandon.
Perfect.
You didn't try to be a badass. You wanted to play with it a little bit.
Yeah.
You wanted to play with that line.
It's such a different, like you said, a different superhero type character and just the conversation between him and the officer when he goes into his apartment. He's like,
You still have your hat
on. And it's just, there's certain lines. I mean, Brandon Lee's, his acting, obviously he just had like Rapid Fire before this. He had the other one with like Dolph Lundgren. It really wasn't at like a high level, but this is one of those films that it's so sad the accident happened, because I feel like that man's career after this movie would have just skyrocketed because it was so well done. His acting in this film, his look in the film, they purposely didn't make it a karate movie. Like, he was actually nervous when they were choreographing the fight scene with like T-Bird, that he didn't want it to be karate. He didn't want it to look like he knew how to fight. He wanted to just come off as like winning a fight naturally, and it's choreographed that way. And
I think that's what makes those scenes stick so much better, is because there's a real element to it. It feels like this guy isn't a world-traveled martial artist, so he shouldn't
Right.
fight.
Why all of a sudden, because you're back from the dead, you know Kung Fu? Like
Yeah,
every
right.
vampire in Buffy?
Yeah, right? Exactly my point. So, like, the fact that they had the fight scenes, you know, and they had him fight like somebody who doesn't have experience, like, I think that's what made the fight scenes stand out to me more. And they made them more real, and I think you become more attached to the character because
you can relate.
He doesn't seem invincible.
Right.
He makes mistakes. He gets hurt.
The way he just played the nonchalant hero of, you know, I just want him, and he's sitting on the table, and it's just he's like laid back as this avenging his death. He's not angry.
Yeah.
He's not just acting erratic.
I see you have made your decision. Now let's see you enforce it.
He's cool, calm, collected,
He's
but
not
playing
doing
this.
superhero poses.
No, he's just
and, like,
confident.
Trying to act
He's just
cool and all that.
yeah.
Like, one of my favorite scenes and one of my favorite lines of dialogue in that film is when he's interacting with Ernie Hudson. Ernie Hudson's character, they're, you know, talking back and forth in the apartment, and Ernie's like, "You're not gonna do that, you know, that disappearing shit bullshit."
Yeah.
Right? And he's like, "No, I think I'm just gonna take your door."
Thought I'd
like,
use your front door.
Are you gonna vanish into thin air again?
I thought I'd use your front door.
I love that scene.
Every time I watch it, more emotional. The way
so
he's taught, their dialogue and them back and forth. Yes, because so Ernie Hudson is a police officer that was there the night of their death, and he kind of cared for the little girl that was left behind that they were caring for. So Brandon Lee goes to him to kind of seek answers, like, you were there, what happened? And again, as I get older and watch that scene, and Brandon, you know, he's telling Brandon Lee what happens, and you see him just sink. It's so.
That's my favorite scene of the film.
Yeah.
Bar none. Like, even with all the action, even with all the cool shots, that scene between Ernie Hudson and Brandon Lee was my favorite scene in the film.
What are you, Ghost? Boo. Yes, it's so good. There's so many good things about this film. Halloween time. Give The Crow a watch. I highly recommend. Justin?
Highly recommend. I think it is required viewing.
Yes, you have to watch it. And leave comments below. Let us know if you've watched it, what your thoughts were, if we got anything wrong, or if you disagree, or if you agree. I'd love to hear from you guys on your opinions on the movie. And Justin, I gotta say, thank you for coming on Attack on Show, man. It's been a pleasure having you. This was a lot of fun. Finally got to dive into The Crow. So
right?
this is like,
I don't usually get to have these dialogues with people about The Crow, because like, it's very rare when you meet somebody who's seen the film and is a huge fan of it, like you and I are. So
yeah, you get them like you said, it's not like they don't like it, but I've had people just say, "No, it's good." But that was it. Like
nobody ever says it's bad.
Right.
But like, you have like people who say it's good, and then you have your freaks like us. Like, we are just Crow freaks.
And we're out there.
And we're out there. We exist. Kind of like pro wrestling fans. Pro wrestling fans will talk that they're pro wrestling fans, but there's a lot.
Yeah, there are a lot out there.
There's a lot.
No, definitely. Thank you guys for watching. Make sure you like and subscribe below. Leave comments. Check out the links below for the films coming out for Justin. And then what date was the date again for the Christmas coupon? Imagine Theater?
December 2nd.
December 2nd, Imagine Theater in Novi. So go meet Justin there. Check out Christmas Coupon. It's a great film. As always, I'm Robbie. This is Attack on Show.